Villager, it's been a long journey, hasn't it? You've seen many seasons in this blocky world, but have you ever stopped to consider what kind of life you've been leading? Sure, you've done well for yourself, but let's take a moment to reflect on your actions, especially those moments when you overcharged for a simple loaf of bread or hoarded emeralds like they were the only things that mattered. You've been quite the savvy trader, but here's the thing. Is that really the kind of legacy you want to leave behind? Remember the time you asked for 64 emeralds just for an enchanted book? Now, that was a bit much, wasn't it? Think about that poor player who worked so hard mining and crafting, only to find out that you were driving a hard bargain. How did you feel about that? Did it give you a sense of power, knowing you held something they desperately needed? That's where we need to start, my friend, right at the root of this issue. Let's talk about humility for a moment. I know you've got a lot of pride in what you do, but pride without humility can lead you down a dangerous path. It's one thing to know your worth, but it's another to inflate it at the expense of others. What if, instead of squeezing every last emerald out of a player, you offered a fair trade? Think about the difference that would make. Not just for them, but for you as well. Humility is a strange thing. It has a way of lifting you up when you least expect it. You see, when you're humble, you recognize that every interaction is an opportunity to spread kindness. And that kindness doesn't just benefit others. It changes you too. You don't need to charge a fortune for that enchanted book. Imagine the joy on a player's face when they realize they got a great deal. That joy will come back to you tenfold, I promise. Now, let's talk about generosity. I know, emeralds are valuable and you've worked hard to collect them. But what if, just once in a while, you gave without expecting anything in return? What if you surprised a player by offering a discount, or better yet, gave something away for free? Generosity isn't about losing what you have. It's about sharing the abundance that's been given to you. And in doing so, you'll find that you're not poorer, you're richer in ways that truly matter. You might be wondering, why should I change? What's in it for me? Well, villager, life isn't just about accumulating wealth, whether it's in emeralds or anything else. It's about making a difference in the lives of others. When you're generous, you create a ripple effect. That player you helped, they'll remember your kindness, and they might just pass it on to someone else. That's how you build a legacy that lasts, by doing good, one small act at a time. And let's not forget, even in a game like this, your actions speak volumes about who you are. When you choose to be generous, you're not just changing the world around you, you're changing yourself. You're becoming the kind of villager who is known not just for good trades, but for a good heart. So what do you say? Maybe it's time to stop thinking about what you can get and start thinking about what you can give. Maybe it's time to trade in that old mindset for something new, something better. You've got it in you, I know it. Let's start with a little humility, a bit of generosity, and watch how your world changes for the better. Villager, let's talk about something that's been on my mind. Your tendency to ignore those who need you most. You've been so caught up in your own little world that you've missed the bigger picture. Remember all those times a player came to you, desperate for a trade, only to find you turning away, uninterested. Now, I understand you might have been busy, or maybe you just didn't feel like trading that day. But what if, instead of turning your back, you extended a hand? You see, indifference is a subtle form of selfishness. It's easy to justify, telling yourself that you're just minding your own business, but in reality, it's a missed opportunity to do something good. Compassion, on the other hand, is about seeing the needs of others and choosing to act, even when it's inconvenient. It's about making the choice to care. Let me share a little story with you. Once upon a time, there was a traveler who was beaten and left on the side of the road. Many passed by without offering help, thinking, "It's not my problem." But then, a good Samaritan came along. He didn't know the traveler, and helping him didn't benefit him in any way. But he chose to act out of compassion, and that choice made all the difference. Now you might be thinking, but I'm just a villager. What can I do? The truth is, it's not about the size of your actions, it's about the heart behind them. Imagine if, instead of ignoring those players who come to you, you welcomed them with open arms. What if you offered them a fair trade, or even just a kind word? That simple act of kindness could change their entire experience, and in turn, it will change you. Compassion isn't just about big, heroic deeds. It's about the small, everyday choices we make. It's about seeing the humanity in others and responding with love. And here's the thing, when you practice compassion, it becomes contagious. Others see your example and are inspired to do the same. That's how real change happens, villager, one small act of kindness at a time. So, the next time you see a player in need, don't turn away. Instead, ask yourself, how can I help? Maybe it's as simple as offering a trade, or maybe it's just being there, ready to listen. Whatever it is, know that your choice to care will make a difference. And in the process, you'll discover a deeper sense of fulfillment than anything those emeralds could ever give you. Villager, I've noticed something about you. You're not a big fan of change, are you? You've got your routines, your ways of doing things, and you're comfortable with them. But here's the thing about life. Even in a world made of blocks, it's constantly changing. And if you resist change, you miss out on the opportunity to grow. Remember that time when a new player came to the village and you refused to trade with them because you didn't recognize them? You were stuck in your ways, too afraid to step out of your comfort zone. But what if, instead of clinging to what you know, you embraced the unknown? What if you saw change not as a threat, but as a chance to learn something new? Change can be scary, I get it, but it's also necessary. It's how we grow, how we become better versions of ourselves. Think about it. If you stay the same, you'll never discover what you're truly capable of. You'll never experience the joy of mastering a new skill or the satisfaction of overcoming a challenge. In the Bible, there's a story about a man named Peter. He was a fisherman, and one day I called him to leave his nets behind and follow me. It wasn't easy for him. He had to leave everything he knew behind. But in doing so, he discovered a new purpose, a new identity. He went from being a simple fisherman to a leader, someone who changed the world. Now, I'm not saying you need to leave everything behind, villager, but I am saying that you shouldn't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Try something new, take a risk, and see where it leads you. Who knows? You might just find that there's more to life than you ever imagined. Growth isn't about becoming something you're not. It's about becoming more of who you are. It's about tapping into your potential and discovering the amazing things you're capable of. So don't be afraid of change. Embrace it and let it transform you into the villager you were always meant to be. Villager, we need to have a serious talk about your obsession with material wealth. I've seen you counting your emeralds, stacking them up like they're the most important thing in the world. But let me ask you this. What good is all that wealth if it doesn't bring you true happiness? There's a story I once told about a rich man who stored up all his treasures in barns, thinking he was set for life. But one night, his life was taken from him, and all that wealth meant nothing. You see, it's not the wealth itself that's the problem. It's the way you prioritize it over everything else. When you focus solely on accumulating more and more, you lose sight of what really matters. Let's think about what you're sacrificing in your pursuit of wealth. Have you ever missed out on building relationships with the players around you because you were too busy chasing emeralds? Have you ever passed up an opportunity to do something good because you were focused on making a profit? If so, it's time to reassess your priorities. True wealth isn't found in emeralds or rare items. It's found in the relationships you build, the kindness you show, and the good deeds you do. When you prioritize these things, you'll find that your life becomes richer in ways you never expected. And here's the best part. The more you give, the more you receive. It's a principle as old as time itself. So, how about it? Instead of focusing on what you can get, start thinking about what you can give. Use your wealth to help others, to build up your community, and to make the world around you a better place. You'll find that this kind of wealth is far more satisfying than any stack of emeralds ever could be. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Every step of the way, I'll be here, guiding you, encouraging you, and helping you become the villager you were always meant to be. Together, we can make this world, both yours and mine, a better place.